here, I would love to open up the floor to you guys for wins. What wins do we have? Let's go over some wins of the week. I know, Bobby, I asked you before this call, so I'm going to put you on blast here. We're talking about Profit First today. And Bobby and I just reviewed his Profit First spreadsheet. And I want Bobby to kind of share his wins about Profit First.
So with the Profit First, I'm able to pay myself twice the amount I was paying myself before. Like this week, I took my salary and I doubled it. So I got 2 checks this week instead of 1. And yeah,
Hey.
before that, I would never, like, there's times before I wasn't even paying myself and I was paying everybody else. Now I'm paying myself twice as much as what I normally pay myself. So, and I got money in my owner's comp account still sitting there that I got as backup if I need, already for next week and the week before, right, for like a month or so. So it's pretty amazing.
Which is awesome.
Woo!
Yes. And I want everybody to know, Bobby and I, we just started doing Profit First. Like we're within our first couple months, and so we're not even where we exactly want to be yet, but still already reaping the benefits of using that system. Also, we were looking at the numbers and he's been gone for basically a couple weeks, almost a month now. You were on a missions trip and at this business conference, and his guys had some of the biggest weeks we've seen them produce. So I told Bobby, try not to take that personally. That's a win. That's a win.
Come on, that's too good.
Yeah, and I was able to leave my company for 2 weeks and it functioned without me completely.
I got
That's a
chills.
dream.
That's a dream. Thank you, Bobby, so much for sharing. Anybody else win, small, large, we celebrate them all. That's why we're all here. So if you're want to share, please unmute and fire away.
You get the win. I got my Google Ads working today.
Woo!
Can you hear me?
Woo! Yes, we can hear you. That's a win.
Yes,
That's
finally.
Yeah, you can ask any of the coaches here about how much we love dealing with Google. And I think we all would passionately have quite a few stories and some angst behind them. So,
Yep.
Well, we're excited for you. We're glad. Okay, well, Rudy, I'm going to hand everything over to you here, sir, to get this show on the road.
Perfect. Well, we're going to cover turkeys today. Just kidding. Profit First. I'm going to call this Profit First Part 2. Now, I know that some of you, may have not even started with Profit First implementation, or you're thinking about it, or it's coming down the line, or maybe you've started a little bit. Well, this is really here to, we're going to go over through some core principles of Profit First, but just try and hang in here. Even if you haven't started, you've never even heard of Profit First, try and hang in here with us. We're going to go over through a short recap, real short summary here of what Profit First is and how it can really benefit you. But some of these things you just need to hear a million times, and it's not going to hurt you just to hear this once, even if this is your first time. So after that, we're going to go into breakout rooms and answer some specific questions and really help you guys out, and just making sure, is there a stumbling block for Profit First? Is there something that's keeping you from making the best out of Profit First? All right, Profit First Part 2 starts now. It's my favorite slide. Okay, so first off, Profit First, just quick reminder here, it's a cash flow management system, and it was initially standardized and developed by Mike McCalloch, and the system is explained in depth in this book, Profit First. So if you haven't got it, read it. It's a great book. Honestly, pretty entertaining audiobook as well. The author's actually reading it. He's kind of a funny guy, and or buy the book and read it. So here's 3 reasons I like to summarize why everyone should implement Profit First. And first off, I like to say, people in all situations can benefit from these reasons. Some people are like, well, I'm actually really profitable, life is great. Some people are like, I don't know if I'm even profitable. Others are like, I'm really struggling. If you're any of those 3, here's how you can benefit from it. First off, this method gives the ultimate peace of mind in your cash management. There is no wondering if I have enough money. You always know. That sounds kind of nice, no matter what situation you're in. Next thing is profit first. I love this delay I got here on my, there you go. It'll help you, it'll provide you with specific profit goals to aim for, and also provides you with proven methods to help you reach these targets. And these are heavily researched standards that apply to all industries. And the Profit First does it in a neat way where it can really apply to anybody and give you standards to reach. And that's some of these things we review with you, and you may already have these percentages figured out. But if you haven't started Profit First yet, I'm sorry, it's a little confusing right now. But the main thing is it's going to help you achieve realistic goals and help you set them as well. Anybody can benefit from that. And in here, even if you're the profit king right now, it's going to provide you, if you're already someone is one of the few people is already operating at a high level of profitability and efficiency, the Profit First system is going to provide continual guidance as you grow by always making profit a top priority for your business and magnifying specific issues that may prevent you from holding on to that. So it's also going to set up just guardrails in your cash flow so you don't begin, even if you're growing. One of the biggest growing mistakes, you can do things real right in the beginning, and then you begin to grow and you're like, well, I can spend more because I'm growing, and then you realize your profit begins to dwindle away. It's going to help you completely prevent that. In fact, it's going to help you gain profit instead. So right now, does anybody just hate what I'm saying? You're like, I don't want any of those three things. Raise your hand. That's you. See, I appreciate the full 100% participation on that one. I was looking forward to that. Oh, Bryce. Oh, he was adjusting his headset. I got it. Okay. Now, just this is a great visual here for Profit First. Just want to give a quick recap here on some of these things. Is main checking account, $6,000 to $8,000. This is just relative to whichever business. You're like, man, that's a lot. Or you're like, wow, that's nothing. It wouldn't last me a day. Just forget about that. This is just an example here. So $68,000 without Profit First in one bank account, that's what it would look like. It's pretty straightforward. A typical business owner looks at this, look at their main checking account, determine how much they can spend just by glancing at their account. Profit First calls this is bank balance accounting. If there's a lot in the account, you can spend money, great. And if there isn't a lot, then stop spending money. So in this example, we have $68,000 in one account. The question is, well, how much of that is dedicated towards project supplies? Or how much of that is set aside for payroll or for my pay, my salary? Or how much is going to be left over for profit? Well, with Profit First, you just, without Profit First, you just don't know. That's the part about this. So here's a great visual representation of with Profit First. You know exactly how much is designated for each area because that's the money in your bank account. You don't have to look at this and wonder, well, after expenses are paid, how much am I going to pay myself? Will I even pull a profit? Do I know if I have enough money for taxes at the end of the quarter? This is all accounted for. Each account is set up over here. So, you know exactly what you're dealing with every time you look at your bank balance for each account. Once again, quick summary here. But something I wanted to emphasize here and this talk is, first off, is your allocation day. Well, what's your allocation day? This is the day your money comes into your income account, like that representation we just saw, and it moves into the other accounts. Why is it important to determine an allocation day? Why allocations day important? Why not just move all the money in the other accounts into profit, owner's comp, and so forth as money just comes in? Well, if all we're doing is reacting to the money that comes in, and when do we need to spend it, and hopefully have enough, then the system isn't doing anything for you. It's not going to help you. So that's why it's important to determine when you're going to have that allocation day. Most of you already probably have that set up. but what's important here is you get to set a rhythm that isn't up to just your emotional reaction. Shoot, I'm low on money. Let's allocate money right now. Or hey, I don't want an extra, $5,000 or $20,000 sitting there. I want it to be in my other accounts right now. Well, says why do you need that? Are we just trying to build peace of mind that just really that's just more of a worrying about things that you don't really need to worry about? So this rhythm is so important because it gives you predictability that you can't otherwise achieve. It helps you gain a better pulse on how your business is actually doing. Another important thing is it really gives you a better understanding of your overall cash flow in the business. If money is always extremely tight right before your allocation day, that's a red flag that Profit First has definitely helped you identify. However, if it begins to feel, just really good and you feel like you didn't desperately need the money before your next allocation day, well, that's a great sign as well. If there's loads of red flags, then that's Profit First way of telling you something needs to change. So don't just say, oh, shoot, I got to make an early allocation. Oh, well, no, that's your business way of telling you through Profit First, let's do something different. And that at that point, talk to your coach about it. If it isn't obvious, sometimes it means, well, maybe you get less commercial work. Maybe you got to have a better collecting process. All these things, you and your coach will go through, and it's really important to talk through. Yeah, go Bryce. This is perfect.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'll add to that for those of you that are implementing Profit First, Jonathan just mentioned a really big point a second ago with the bells and whistles, the warning signs going off. If you're not able to spend the money for this, that's your business telling you that you're either overspending or undercharging or a number of different issues. The first reaction is just to transfer money from one account into that. Usually people try to take that from the profit account. That defeats the purpose of the system. Maybe we get that to get us through the week, but we need to use that as that warning to make us look into everything else. What's going wrong here? Why are we not able to make these allocations happen? Not just, have these separate accounts and then make transfers whenever we feel like we have to keep them separate, or otherwise we're not really working the system. We're not reverse engineering the profitability here.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jonathan.
That's huge. Real quick, is Tom Stout? No, he is not in here. I'm going to be a bad coach if I don't say this. Harley, if you could reach out to Tom Stout and Stout Design Build and see if he can make it to this meeting, because he's texting me and having issues getting on. So done with that.
Okay.
Okay, so allocations day, here's what's important. Most important part is actually determining when will you make those allocations. Is it going to be, so I know I'll address the elephant in the room here for you, really stick to the book, and it's great. Like they talk about the 10th and 25th. That's the only time you should make your allocations. Well, outside of the book, the Profit First team and Profit First, university and all these things that we go through, they're like, well, I know the book says that, but at the end of the day, it's, it's important to just stick to a rhythm, pick a day and time, and stick to that rhythm. That's the most important. That's the principle here with Profit First, because it's the rhythm that's going to, it's that cadence that's going to allow you to see what's going on in your business. Now, once a day, that's not a rhythm I'm going to agree with. So that's the one thing you can't do. If you're going to stretch it to once every other day, sure. I mean, be that person. But really, here's what I suggested. Most of my clients do it once a week. It's real simple. Monday morning, first thing every week. Let's just do that. And if you can do 10th and 25th, by all means, or 3 times a month, just pick a day and time that's consistent and stick with it. That's what's important here. Anybody here who found a great allocation time that works for them? I need at least 1 or 2 here. Brag about your allocation day. When do you do that? There's a lot of you that implement Profit First here.
I can tell you, I just do mine normally. I'll keep a couple checks and then I deposit them, and I won't allocate it for 10 days because usually If it's over a couple thousand, it's gonna take the bank that long to clear the whole amount anyway.
Nice. Anybody else?
Shatoya does Sundays.
Okay. I know the Lombardos do, well, actually, I don't know. I was gonna assume Monday, but I don't think it is. I think it's Friday. Okay, well, just pick a day and time. I'm just trying to, I'm just showing you're not alone here. People are sticking to this here. So, here's the next thing. I want to go through a couple just to recap here, because I know this can get confusing sometimes, is the profit first core accounts. What is the main reason for these, and how do we use each of these accounts? And if this is the first time you're seeing this, then just roll with it. It's good to just hear this and start downloading this information and processing it here. So the main account here that you definitely don't have unless you're implementing profit first is the income account. What is this? This is where all the revenue from the business goes in. Cash, checks, deposits, however you get paid, the money goes in here. Every dollar goes into this account. Pretty straightforward. Well, thankfully it doesn't stay there. It gets moved over into the other 4 accounts on allocation day. Profit count. The profit allocation goes here. No surprises here. So this is not going to be touched, not transferred. This is, you don't want to, money goes in the profit account. You don't use it to spend on operating expenses. You use it, you leave it there up until the end of each quarter. At the end of the quarter, if you have debt, we need to get that debt paid off. 99% of that profit goes towards paying debt off of the business. You know what happens with the other 1%? Who knows?
Party.
You party with the 1%. You buy, whatever you want to do with that 1%. Take that 1% and it's for you to celebrate because you have earned profit, and you're going to take that and just enjoy it. If that means, I know the example of the book, Mike talks about just, getting the maybe $7, $8 and buying a Subway sandwich and celebrating with that Subway sandwich, letting it just be the best sandwich you've ever had, knowing that your profit paid for that through by rewarding you here. You're benefiting from the business. Now, ideally here, when we get down to a point where there's no debt, or at the very least no bad debt here, you can at least take half of that balance. You come to the end of a quarter, it's $10,000, let's say, or let's say 5,000. Half that balance is yours. It's literally your reward. $2,500 moved into your checking. Do whatever you want with it. It's yours now. Life is good, or whatever that amount is. Half of it, it's yours. Take it. That's an exciting moment. I've had clients who told me, well, what do I do with this profit? I was like, well, I already told you, but I'm going to tell you again. It's okay. I said, it's yours to celebrate. Like, what? Really? Like, but I don't like to pay myself that much money. What am I going to do with this? Use it for your next vacation. Use it to buy that property you've always wanted, or start saving money or put it towards a project. This is the time. This is why the business is here. It's to help you reach your dreams and what you want to do outside of the business. The other half, that goes towards your business emergency account. We won't get too far into that, but you want to make sure to set that over in the other account, and you've got to have a business emergency account. You got to have an emergency fund for your business. There you go. Already said it. All right. Now don't lose me here, or at least I guess I can't lose you. Don't. Just stick with me on this one. I'm going to go over something a little more complicated. It's the owner's compensation account. Now, if you found a way to just do it and to work it right now, that's working for you, great. But this is how the book talks about doing it. And I feel like it'd be really beneficial to do it this way and to stick with this. So really what this account is meant to function as a fund for your salary. Just because there is $5,000 in there doesn't mean it's your $5,000. It's just a fund for your salary. So if you're paying yourself, let's say $4,000 twice a month, semi-monthly. Then it comes out of this account. So hopefully you're going to have a lot more than $4,000 in there every time you're going to pay yourself, so you can afford to pay yourself. But you know, if there's not enough money in that account, what happens? You can't, unfortunately, it's your business way of telling you, hey, we can't afford to pay you today. We can't, and we want to minimize that 100%, of course. You know, let me put this on here. Okay, so if there's a pattern of not enough money to cover your salary, well, then here's a sign that, you know, either your allocation going to owner's comp is too low, or maybe your salary is too high. You know, if you're not sure, talk about it with your coach. But it's going to be important. This is a good way of making sure, are you paying yourself enough? On the opposite, this is my favorite part here. Well, Jonathan, my owner's comp account, I'm getting so much extra money in this account, and my $4,000 or $8,000 a month salary isn't enough. You know, I'm getting too much money into this account. I have $30,000 extra dollars in here. Well, that's profit first way of telling you, hey, you got to give yourself a raise. You know, you're going to have to give yourself more than just $8,000 a month, and because you can afford it. You have all that extra money sitting there. So let's start doing that. You know, if you're for tax reasons, you know, I'm not a CPA here. Always do what's best for taxes. If for some reason, you know, there's a different way to go about that, then listen to your accountant on that. But or if you just want to take a draw of the entire difference and whatever, you know, I'm not giving you tax advice here. I'm just giving you practical advice. So however way you have to go about that, do that. But it's important to know if you have too much money in the owner's comp, that's a great way of just knowing, man, I can afford to give myself a raise. That's always a nice thought, isn't it? Yes, I'm getting nods. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, bear with me here. We got just 2 more accounts. These are going to be a little quicker. We have the tax account. This is going to cover the business income taxes. Better yet, this is an important part here. I really want to include this. It's also meant to cover your personal tax obligations as the owner. You know, what does that mean? Well, if you're on payroll and the business, you know, the business should pay you back for the payroll tax coming out of your check. You know, that's important. When you get a check from your business, let's not pay taxes twice. Just let the business take care of that, so that you actually are getting the money that you need. So, you know, other questions like, well, when do I pay these taxes? Well, like I said before, I'm not your CPA, but this is your fund for your tax payments. So the good thing about a tax account is you can never allocate too much into this account. You know, because worst case scenario here is if you pay your taxes annually and you find after paying your taxes you have an extra $10,000 sitting in there. Well, good news, you get to transfer that all into your profit account and celebrate. I know some of you here have had those situations. Nicole, am I crazy? Do you have a client to brag about where you had a situation like that at the end of the year?
You're not crazy. Not this time, Rudy, typically, but
Well,
not this
we're
time.
not there yet. We're talking about last year.
So Alicorp Plumbing, I think it was their second year of running Profit First. At the end of the year, he paid taxes. And he had about $30,000 left over in that tax account. And he'd been driving the same vehicle for about 10 years and it really needed to replace it. And so he was able to go buy a new vehicle just straight up in cash. That's what he did with that leftover money. And that's the beauty of, yes, I always have clients that are like 15% or 10%. That's high. And it's like, yes, because you're going to be paying yourself more. You might have more taxes this year. We're growing that revenue, but you're going to have money left over and you get to do whatever the heck you want with it.
And what's
Thanks for
and what's fun, if I can pile on, that situation, Nicole, where people are like, I'm not sure, do I really have to shell out this much? Well, with custom installations, Brent, he was asking those same questions, making those same comments. He kept going with it though, and then turns out he grows quite a bit from the previous year to the end of 2021, finds out he has a bigger tax bill, and now he's actually pretty thankful that there were some extra reserves in there that he thought he didn't quote unquote need.
That's huge.
Wh-
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that, if you're paying yourself a paycheck and then you're using the tax account to pay your portion of the taxes back, say that's $400.
Yeah.
Once the company writes you that check because you're an employee, now you're paying taxes on that 400.
I would ask your CPA about that. Yeah, I don't know the technical portion about that. All I know is that, you know, there's going to be a way to just make sure you're maximizing what you need to get from the business.
Yeah, that's the reason I haven't done it, because I mean, I sat down with my wife and talked to her about it, and I'm like, yeah, well, if I take this over there, so I figured, okay, if I'm gonna pull money, if I was gonna pay 2,000 and the tax on that's 500, then I'll just take the 2,500 out of the one account. Because that gets you pretty close, but because then
Well,
I figured doing it that way, then you're paying again payroll taxes on it.
Well, don't do that.
Okay.
Bottom line,
Yeah.
make sure you have enough money in your tax account to cover your taxes and to make sure that you're paying yourself enough. Did you have something to add, Nicole?
No,
I gotta
I think
get myself first, but
I think it's all about how you have your company set up and how you're consistently paying yourself is a lot in regards to the taxes. And like we said, we'd recommend talking to your CPA or CFA. I know if you're a sub S, you know, or if you have yourself filed as that, you can get quite a few tax breaks in regards to your payroll, especially what you're paying yourself. And so the main thing we're trying to communicate is that your tax account, any taxes that you owe, any taxes your business owes, it should cover it. But however you have, like however you're paying yourself, we would recommend talking to your accountant of what's going to benefit you the best tax wise, because it's all dependent on your state and how you have your company set up.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the main thing. Good input there. Here's the last account that I'm going to cover in detail here is operating expenses. And I like to cover all these other accounts first because just to simplify this, I'm going to say everything else comes out of here. You know, there's different ways to do this. You know, talk to your coach specifically about that, what's going to work best for you. But in this, just keeping this simple here, everything else is going to come out of operating expenses that we didn't already mention. You know, payroll, office supplies, minimum loan payments, overhead, party supplies, and you know, market and so forth. You know, that's the main thing here. Let's just make sure that everything else is coming out of this account and just really keeping that simple. Here's a couple of principles I want to make sure to cover here to keep in mind. You know, it's like, well, which accounts should you use? You know, I like to say you really should find a way, you know, to use at least those 5 core accounts. You know, the book in the process, we really talk about hold accounts, profit hold accounts, tax hold accounts in different banks. You know, I encourage to do all those things. But bottom line, I really want to make sure at the very least we're using those 5 core accounts just to really do what we can to just not make excuses and get this going. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But another thing is, you know, a line that Profit First talks about is when in doubt, add an account. You know, there's a lot of other advanced accounts you could use. Yeah, Profit First talks about. The main question I like to ask myself though is adding this additional account going to bring me more peace of mind when it comes to my finances and have a better handle on my cash flow? If so, then add it on there. And if you're not sure, ask your coach or your CPA if it's about taxes. But here's another principle I like to throw in here is, you know, sooner is always better with everything in life. You know, I could go on about this for a half hour. I won't. But, you know, it comes down to this question. It's very, very important. What are you most likely to implement? You know, if burdening yourself with opening hold accounts is just going to cause you to put off Profit First longer, then just start without it. You know, life is too short to wait around and try and figure things out. Let's just start it. Stop looking for excuses here. You know, so at the very least, this will stop all excuses. Start with 1% profit. So if you're thinking, man, this is all it's too complicated, I can't do this, you know, hold accounts and income account, just stop. No, just you already have an account you're spending everything out of. Just open a savings account and transfer 1% of all your revenue that comes in, no matter what. That's all. At the very least, do that. And if you're thinking, well, shoot, if I can't even, if all I can do is set aside 1%, is it even worth setting aside? Well, is a business where you can't even save 1% worth having? So
Oh,
that was good.
I'm not saying I'm not saying close down your doors and shut down the business. No, I'm saying this is the tool to help you start making this happen. This is the tool that's going to get you where you need to go. And that's why it's so important. That's why we're passionate about profit first. Up until this moment, I've never had someone implement this and go, well, I'm shutting down my business. It's hopeless. No, they're excited about this because it brought a light at the end of the tunnel that wasn't there before. So real quick here, I'm going to blast a shotgun of wins here. You guys are ready for this? I have about eight or nine wins. I'm just going to blast through and read off because we love to brag about clients who are experiencing great wins with profit first, because there's no reason it can't be you as well. All right, we got Blessings Hardwood Flooring. Because of profit first and being strict and about taking down payments here, they stopped needing to take money off savings to float the business expenses. Clear Creek Plumbing and Glass, they had an extra $15,000 after paying off taxes to knock down debt faster because of profit first. This time last year, they had no idea what was coming in and going out of the business, and all paper receipts. Now that's amazing. Rogers Plumbing, because of it, profit first, they are finally able to hit a 32% net profit. Does that sound nice to anybody?
That's a nice net.
That's almost immoral. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It's great. He's serving people.
Golden net.
That's why. It's because you're able to bring great value to people. They pay you what you deserve.
And that's
all right.
After paying himself. After paying himself. It's huge.
Yes, that's a good note. And then My Plumber, through profit first, they were able not to just pay their expenses, but also pay down debt and still have money in the bank. And that's huge. Out today, I'm going to quote him. He literally said this: "This profit system is just crazy. I just bought a home, gave my friend $3,500, totally caught up with all my taxes last year, and ready to pay quarterly taxes this year. And I still have money in my accounts."
Can I be his friend?
Well, maybe. Home Tall Holland, I had to buy a new truck because the old one died. And we were ready. Because of profit first, we were saving money every week in order to buy a new vehicle. By the Book Plumbing, paid off all debt, now winning big with profit first. SOS Air Utah, paid off all $45,000 worth of bills. And Lennox and all this here, and profit first is amazing. All right, last one here. This year has been the least stressful and most prepared and easiest tax season ever because of profit first. These are real people. Guys, are we ready for breakout rooms? How are we feeling about this?
Before I let Bryce break us all out, I have a few little notes. Since we're all together again, I'm going to remind us we are not having group coaching next week.
Gobble,
it is
gobble.
Thanksgiving. We're going to be in food comas. No group coaching. Also, in the chat, I put it at the beginning of the group call, and I just added it again. If you have not implemented profit first, I see some newer clients here. We probably haven't gotten into it yet. We're definitely going to. This is something we talk about with every single client. And so I put a link to a group call where we go over the intro. Rudy kind of gave you the teaser, the cliff notes. I want you guys to save that YouTube link somewhere. If you miss it, text your coach, email us, we'll send it over to you. But get into that YouTube link, listen to that intro, and make sure to read or listen to the first 8 chapters of Profit First. And then with working with your coach, you're going to have a great foundation to implement Profit First quickly and effectively.